Okay, so I think today's episode 29. So I just got back the other day from Montpellier, which is where the whole story in France started. And I didn't know what to expect from the whole thing. So just my natural thought was that it's going to be, pardon me, that's going to be a bit triggering because it just where it all, like I said, where it all started. So I know a bunch of people down there. Another place like the back of my hand, Melissa and I had gone everywhere down there. So I thought like Paris was at a certain point that I would see her everywhere and get at least knots in my stomach. And oddly enough, I didn't. I got down there, got off the train. As I was coming into town, it was familiar, and there was a strange feeling. It wasn't dread, it wasn't sadness. It was hard to describe. It was definitely something, but I can't really put into words what it was. And so that was good, and I was actually kind of surprised, happy that I wasn't just a crying mess the whole way. So checked into there. Maybe I had to go meet a friend, a fellow photographer at our old studio. So as I'm walking over there, I go down the street, and suddenly it was when we got onto the street of the old studio, then I didn't see, like, as in a hallucination, but I felt and kind of saw when we had pulled our car up there, and kind of on a weekend when the traffic parking regulations were a bit lax, pulling ourselves out of the car and taking it up into the studio and shuttling trips back and forth from the apartment to the studio. And then in reverse, when we were leaving there to go to Paris, we had to pull the stuff out of the studio. So for some reason that triggered me. So then I started crying in the street. It didn't last long because I was pretty close to the place. So then I went upstairs, saw my friend, and on the way in saw that our sign is still there. So it still has the picture and Keith and Melissa, photographers. Yeah, so that was, that didn't trigger. But then I got in and was talking to my friend and started crying again. But that was it for the most part. That was most of it. And so got to see a bunch of friends that we made while we were down there, see the places, did the job I had to do. My older daughter who lives in Spain had come up to just get a change of scenery and hang out with her dad. I love the fact that my girls actually like to hang out with their father. So I know how lucky I am. Not everybody can say that. And I know they genuinely just enjoy spending time with me, so I'm happy. And what else? So, okay, did the job. Went 1, 2, 3. So I knew a number of people that actually showed up for it that were guests, so that was kind of cool. The next day was interesting. So Friday, I went to a place called Jardin du Pont, which is the botanical garden where, again, for this ancient medical school, they used to grow their medicinal plants, and then it evolved into just a botanical garden. So it's a nice spot, and it's winter, of course, and it's not in bloom, and the trees are shut, they're bare, and so there's a pond with huge lily pads and other things growing, and in the spring, summer, and fall it's a beautiful spot, shade trees, and the pond itself is lovely. So in 22, I had gone there with my mother's ashes and the girls, and I had sprinkled some of her ashes into that pond, figuring it would be a nice spot. Not at that point thinking we were going to move from there. So just a nice spot to sit down and reflect and talk to my mom. So that's where that poem came into play. That when my daughter had written that for me, it was about that. So what I did is I brought Melissa's ashes, and at this point the pond was everything, like the lily pads were were brown. The reeds and the plants that stuck up from it were brown and doubled over, and it was just kind of a mess. But it was still the same pond. I knew it was still the same spot, and I know it's just the cycle of life. It blooms, it thrives, it withers, and then it dies. That's just like us. So it was it was probably the appropriate time, and so I sprinkled some of her ashes into that same spot where my mother was sprinkled. And then I read the poem, which of course, as you might imagine, I cried my way through. I cried all the way through it. And then I cried for a little while on the other side of it. But I knew that was coming. There's just no way I was going to make it through that. I couldn't read it without crying. So actually having the ashes and being on the site were no brainer. But it was good. It was cleansing. It was something. It was I don't know what it was. It was something, but it felt right. So from there, I went with a friend, and we chatted. My one friend spent a lot of time with him, and we drinks at night, walks in the afternoon, breakfast. He's a great guy, and giving of his time, giving of his attention, just a genuinely good human being. And so, again, came up with some ideas, and who knows what the future will bring. This is supposed to be the year of the fire horse, and all sorts of new stuff is supposed to happen. So let's see if any of the things we talked about come into fruition. I will definitely let you know if I do this every week. So as things start to change, I will let you know, good, bad, and different. So after that, I went back, hung out with my daughter for a while, hung out with some friends. Fast forward to the next day, drop my daughter off where we were leaving the same day, drop her off at the train station, put her on the train. It's raining, of course, appropriately. And she gets on the train, it's pulling away, just like an old black and white movie. I'm sitting there crying, waving to the train as it goes. All right. Later on, I get my train home, blah, blah, blah. I'm leaving on Saturday because my youngest daughter's 19th birthday was on the 1st. So I had to be back for that. Got back, meet her the next day. And yeah, which was Sunday. It was February 1st. It was a lovely day. I had a really good time. Again, just that my daughter wants to hang out with her dad. She had told her boyfriend and her friends that she would meet up with them later, but she wanted to spend time alone with her old man. So, yeah, I'm lucky. And her boyfriend was a really, really nice guy. I like him a lot. He came out right toward the end because they were going to go to a movie and dinner. And yeah, so during that time, neither of my daughters really talked too much about how they're feeling. And so it might be the kids don't have the same thing, but I think it was kind of like how I was when I was younger. It just doesn't affect me as deeply at first, or in the same way the heavier emotions come out later. And so, two things. I think I mentioned before that my youngest had mentioned that she wants a funeral and that she feels like a funeral would be closure. And Melissa wasn't really into funerals. I'm not really into funerals. So we'll see how that plays out. But she thought that would be some closure. We'll see. We'll do something. But yesterday, yesterday she was telling me how she was feeling sad because even though in her whole life, so 19 now, in 2022 when Melissa and my oldest daughter had gone ahead of us into France in January, so it was the only year that we weren't all together for my youngest birthday, for any of our birthdays. So, but we were able to Zoom, talk on the phone, so that was that. But now she recognizes, and she's sad, and she was telling me this, that she now knows this will be the first birthday, and from now on, it's going to be the norm that she won't be able to reach out to her mom. She won't be on the other end of a Zoom call. She won't be on the other end of any kind of video or phone. She can't write her a letter. I can't receive a letter. And yeah, that's the new reality. So yeah, luckily she's got a good support system, and she's a good kid, but yeah, I feel bad for her. I feel bad for both daughters, and of course, as you know, by me making these videos, I feel bad for myself. I feel bad for anybody that knew Melissa. I feel bad for anybody that will never get to know Melissa. She was a fucking amazing person. Like, it really, my two favorite humans ever to walk the earth were my mother and my wife. They had a bunch of similarities and a bunch of differences, which why I didn't marry my mother. Yeah, needless to say, I love my daughters, and right now they're it. But those two women made me who I am, and whoever gets to meet me moving on is going to meet the version that was forged by them and bettered by them. So I owe them both a huge debt of gratitude, and I always will. I'll finish this with talking about the dream I had the other night. And I mentioned a dream not too long ago, and I just had another one, which is outstanding for me because I hadn't had a lot of dreams about Melissa that I could remember anyway. I could probably be dreaming every night, but if you don't remember it, does it count? I don't know. She came to me 3 times, and it was in 3 different phases of the dream. Where I woke up, went back to sleep, woke up, went back to sleep, and the first one I don't remember. The third one I don't really remember. The first one I remember being short, and I think it was something to do with her telling me or asking me or whatever about my apartment search. The second one was, and I woke up going, oh my God, thank God I saw her. I was so happy, but it was so short. Please let me go back to sleep and dream of her again. And I did. And so the second one, I don't remember the gist of most of it, but I know it was a bit more in depth, and it took longer, and it was wonderful, but I remember the end of it. In the end, we'd gone ice skating, and at one point I stepped away. We were going back to change to leave, and so I stepped out for a moment. I came back, and I'm looking for her, and I can't find her. So I'm looking all over the place and nowhere to be seen, so I'm starting to worry. I'm freaking out a little bit. And then it dawns on me, so I'm about to ask somebody if they've seen her, and it dawns on me they probably haven't, because she was never actually there, that she's dead, and she's not really there, and that no one would have seen her come in with me. And I then started to realize that and started to cry. And I woke up from the dream and crying, but even though I was crying, I was also happy, because I was just so happy that I got to dream of her and I got to see her again. I'll take it however I can get it. And then the third one was, I don't remember anything about it really, other than in the dream going to tell a friend that she had come to me, because this is my friend in Arizona who has dreamt of her more and has, again, a better recall of her dreams, and hers seem to go longer, and I like her dreams better than mine. But mine are mine, and I'll hold on to them tightly. But so I went to go tell her, and it was the wrong time. She was sleeping. I woke her up. I apologized. I turned the lights back off and I walked out. But then I woke up. And again, just so happy that I was able to dream about her. So that brings me to, so then yesterday, nothing to really report, just status quo. Overall, things are still looking up. Last night it was a bit harder to sleep. I got to sleep easy. Stupid things are starting to come back into my mind at night. Not super dark things, just stupid things. Well, not even just things I don't need to be thinking about that aren't productive at all in the middle of the night. So, getting back to putting on music, like those sleep music stations on Spotify. just to try to concentrate on something that's not a thought that's spiraling out of control that my mind would make worse over the course of the night. So, yeah, and here I am. I'm still thinking that I've made a bunch of progress. I've still got a ways to go, and life is still looking good. Again, like I ended the last video, which kind of came out of nowhere, but it's my thing now. I think, yeah, life is not fair, but it is beautiful, and I'm going to live the most of it I can, the best I can. So I hope you can too. I hope you're getting along, and that's pretty much it for this one. I'll talk to you next week. All right. In the meantime, just be good to yourself, and it's not a race. Talk to you later.